Good morning, good evening, and good night, everybody. My name is Sarah, and I found a new favorite book. So this isn't technically a review, because I haven't written anything down for this. When I do review, I have points I need to hit. This is not that. So this is just me talking about my new favorite book of all times, Crooked Kingdom. So with that all being said, let's dive on in. Now, I loved Six of Crows. I adored that book. I am a huge fan of stories that center around thieves and heists and doing things that seem impossible with a group of people that all have very specific skills and they all come together and do the impossible. That was book one. Book two is the fallout from doing the impossible, and I love it. I love it so much. And I had bought this book a really long time ago, like a couple of months ago. And then I bought the collector's edition of Six of Crows. And I finally got back to my dorm where I kept this book. And I looked at it and I'm like, hey, I have not read this yet. So I bought the audiobook along with this. Because Crooked Kingdom is a multi-perspective book, they have a full cast audiobook. I found it on sale for really cheap, again, which is just like, I don't know how I did that. Like, I bought the full cast audiobook for Six of Crows for $5. This one I got for the same price. So, I mean, I bought this book on sale to begin with, and I got the audiobook on sale. So, and then I think that's what made this book so amazing to me. It's the fact that I was reading along while listening, and I almost never do that. Like, I rarely read while listening to an audiobook, because you're paying twice. But I got both of these at such a cheap price, I still saved money while doing this, instead of buying this book at a normal bookstore. So I don't even know how to talk about this book. It's so good. I love it so much, and I think I need to start with my new OTP. I do not ship characters. That is not what I do when I read books. I rarely see chemistry. I rarely see connection beyond, oh, they're good friends. Like, I'm a little oblivious when it comes to romance, let's be clear. This book has given me a new OTP. And there is chemistry in this book for that OTP. OTP means one true pairing. For anyone who isn't aware, it essentially means you think two people would look good together as a couple. There are two characters in this book who I think are the most adorable couple in the world, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise. That's how much I love this. Should I say who it is? Not really spoiler. So, it is Jasper and Wylan, and it is so cute because Jasper is the sharpshooter of the team. He is amazing. He's also a gambler. It's a little bit of a gambling problem, but don't worry, that's addressed. And Wylan is this runaway. He comes from this very pristine, prestigious family of merchants, and he's supposed to take over this empire. The only problem is he can't read. And it's so strange, like, he can do everything. He's a huge mathematician, he is a genius with explosives, but for some reason, no matter how hard they try to teach him, he's unable to read. And so his father essentially casts him out in the first book. That's how he ends up on the Six of Crows team as the explosive expert. And it's just like, it's a found family story for him, because he hated his first family, and so he went off and found a new one, and then Jasper found him, and they were so cute together, and I love them so much, and there's chemistry in this book, and there's one slightly unnecessary part, where there was a mistake of identity, so I should say. It felt really forced, but it was cleared up really quick, so there was no need for unnecessary drama beyond a few pages. It's just, I love this book so much, and like, even the faults, I think, are amazing. Like, they fix it in a few pages, they didn't let it drag on, but because of the situation, inevitably, it was going to happen. So, glad we talked about that while we could. Also, the minute that the chemistry I was talking about happened on the page, I went online and found all the fan art. So that's one of the reasons why I love this book so much, is the fact that my favorite couple are basically a couple in this book, and they are so cute, and it's so hard to get me to like a relationship. It's so hard. There is another relationship in this book, which I don't think was as well done as all, but it was really set up incredibly well in the first book, so the way it carried over to the second, I can understand. But this one, the couple I am talking about, adorable. The next one is the fact that this book deals with consequences. Like, I love a book that examines the consequences of a situation. As long as the consequences of a situation are examined, I think the book did its job well. And this one was an entire book about a consequence of an action. And it's so cool because this happens over such a short period of time, especially if you take the first book into consideration. It barely even lasts over a week. And it's just, I love it. I love how these characters feel so real. And this book, you really get to see their age, because in the first book, I was like, I know these characters are technically like 16 or like 17, but they feel 20. In this book, you really get to see that was kind of the front. That's what they've learned to deal with and become in the barrel, in the bad part of town. They learn to hide their immaturities and faults, and in this book, that stuff comes to light. Yes, they're teenagers, they're not perfect, but they grew up in a horrible situation, and again, consequences. Now, I think one of my favorite parts of this book is the little, like, tagline, if you can't beat the odds, change the game, which is just, it's so perfect. Because these characters are stuck in a situation that is impossible for them to get out. It's not, like, there's no way they could survive this. And they're like, we're gonna play a new deck. We're gonna do a new game. Again, a lot of this stuff is like, it has a theme of gambling in it. Jasper is addicted to gambling. Kaz runs a gambling parlor. It's a lot of this, like, this is where they're from, and this is what they're good at, so they're going to use that to their advantage. This book also has a glossary on the back, which, you know, if you're not listening to the audiobook, you can have a little index to see what they're talking about, like, what do these words mean, how do you pronounce them, like, there is a magic system in this, and this book does actually explain the magic system, like, better than the first book did. The thing is, this is a spin-off of the Grishaverse, and the Grishaverse apparently explains the magic system. I've read the first book, I don't think they explained it. But I mean, it's one of those things that you just nod and agree to. Like, okay, these people can change people's faces. These people can direct something. These people can, like, shift the water, whatever. So it's the sort of thing that you just kind of, like, accept. It's done incredibly well. You don't need to read the Grishaverse before going into this. And especially with the index in the back, it's just saying, hey, do you need to know what a tide shifter is? Here's what they do. This book also builds off the idea of racism that is built up in the first book. The way that the Grisha, the people who have powers, are viewed from different countries' point of view. Matthias, one of the characters in this book, is from a country that hates all Grisha. And so we really get to see his development from the first book to the current, where he went from a person who would kill anyone who shows a sign of a Grisha power to basically falling in love with one. And then there's a whole plot near the end of the book where they're, like, going to smuggle a bunch of Grisha out of the country so they can be safe. And it's just, like, I love this. I love this so much because it deals with so many really important things, and it handles it so well. Again, like I mentioned before with Jasper and Wyland, there is LGBTQIA representation in this book, specifically G. They're gay. Two boys in love. They're adorable. I love them. The next thing about this is, like, even though this is a thicker book, it's over 500 pages, it's such a quick read. Like, you want to keep reading. It's so fast-paced because this is a book that deals with the fallout, that deals with the consequences. Like, it's no longer setting up the heist like it was in the first book. This is everything afterwards. And it's so fast-paced because so many things have to happen in such a short amount of time, but you don't feel overwhelmed at all because it takes its time. The reader just flies through it, and I love it so much. Do you want to know to the level I'm obsessing over this? I bought a new phone case. It hasn't come in yet because I am pre-recording this video, so it'll probably be in by the time this video goes up, but I bought a Six of Crows phone case with the crow tattoo on it, and I love it so much, and I'm actually considering getting, like, if I ever get a tattoo, I might use something from this book, either a quote or a symbol, or like a crow's feather, or like the crow on the cup, or like the quote, I have no idea even where it is, this action will have no echo. Like, I love that quote because it's used in an emplacement of an apology. Like, hey, I'm not going to screw up again. This mistake will not be repeated. And that's what you say instead of saying, I'm sorry. And it's so, I love it. I love it so much. And that's literally, like, that's all I can say. When I finished this book, I could not stop smiling. I told everyone I knew about this book and how much I loved it, like how much it meant to me. And I cannot wait for the collector's edition of this book to come out because I need that. I need that in my life, and I will reread it over and over again. I started rereading Six of Crows, and I'm so happy that this book exists and it's in my hands. I love it so much. Thank you guys all so much for watching this really weird video of me just talking about how much I love this book. Like, I'm telling you, new favorite book of all times, you guys. It's so amazing, but thank you guys all so much for putting up with that. And if you like this video or want to talk about this book with me, leave that down in the comment section down below. And while you're there, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And as always, good night, good evening, and good morning, everybody.